Welcome to the clubhouse. I'm Billy Jackson. This is my cat Tack. And today we're going to be reviewing my number 2 pick on my top 10 fantasy list, and that is The Lord of the Rings. And it's actually on the Fellowship of the Ring, but I honestly include all the movies into this one franchise because that's what it is. It's one long story, just split up into 3 movies. But I really love all 3 of these movies the same, and I didn't want to just put 2, 3, and 4 as those 3 movies, because I wouldn't have any room for other movies that I love over the years. So that's why I'm saying it's the Lord of the Rings, because it's the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy that's making my top 2. So that being said, let's talk about Lord of the Rings. I mean, come on. Revered is one of the greatest novels ever written, or series of books, I should say. The Lord of the Rings series is really awesome. Now, I read them a long time ago, and don't really remember much. It's just that I just remember it being a hard read, and it took me forever to read them, even though they're not that long. It was just complicated. But once the movies came out, the books made more sense, what I remembered about them. And with Fellowship of the Ring coming out, it came out in 2001. Then The Two Towers came out in 2002, and then Return of the King came out in 2003. And the reason they were able to do that is because they shot and filmed all 3 of these movies back to back, all at the same time, which was brilliant. Peter Jackson really nailed it, and it's one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Of course, my favorite trilogy of all time is the original Star Wars trilogy, but this is definitely the second best trilogy of all time, right under Star Wars. But well written, well directed, beautifully shot. I mean, I have the book of armors and stuff that they, and how they made all of the armors in these movies. And people, the links in the chain armor, I mean, we're talking for thousands of people, hundreds and then thousands of suits of armors and weapons and machines and stuff. But the chain links, if you watch the movie and look at their armor and look at how many links are anywhere, people did each link and every piece of armor in all 3 of those movies. You gotta respect that. And when it came out in the theaters, it blew my mind. It blew the world's mind, the Fellowship of the Ring. And then Two Towers blew everybody away with Gollum, and his performance is just amazing. And then the Return of the King came out, and that blew everybody away. Won 11 Oscars, I think, or Academy Awards. It won 11 in one of those award sessions. I can't remember. I think it's the Oscars. And it deservedly so. I mean, it should have just blew the whole thing away. You should have just won them all, because that is one of the greatest fantasy movies of all time. And when I rewatch these movies, which I do every couple of years, I'll watch them all back to back. But I will watch only the director's cut, the special editions of these movies, because so much is included, that you don't get to see with the theatrical versions. It's over 3 hours added on to the movie, so you get pretty much another movie woven inside the movies that you already love. So if you plan on watching The Lord of the Rings and you haven't watched the special editions, I definitely suggest watching all of them, the special editions. Now, it is 11 hours long, but that's what makes this trilogy so great. What other story can we watch on film that's just one continuous film that's 11 hours long? I mean, it's a marvel, and definitely an achievement in film history, and that's why I love these films. I can go on and on and on about them, but just know that I love all 3 of these films. They definitely deserve, to be a number 1. I couldn't put it at my number 1 because my number 1 is more of a nostalgic thing for me. But it definitely deserves to be on a number 1 top 10 fantasy list. That's why it just squeaked in at number 2, but it's really a number 1 in my opinion. But anyway, guys, what do you think of The Lord of the Rings, or the whole trilogy altogether? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like my videos and subscribe to my channel. And as always, make yourself happy every day. And the only way to do that is to remember, the only thing stopping you is you stopping. Bam!